I'm Elder Vol.
I don't think.
To my right, we have.
Dramatic pause.
We don't. Well, we don't have any viewers yet, really.
He's waiting for the viewers. If you build it, they will come.
Doesn't matter.
Alright, I guess we'll just do like
edit this out. Thank you. No, I'm just kidding. We don't edit nothing out. This is all natural.
Yeah, right. I mean, I guess we'll just get our cheers out before we have viewers here.
We have one viewer.
It's me.
Okay, now let's get this started. Okay. We're gonna go from right to left, so that's how we're gonna do the intros. We're very professional here, talking about what we're doing on the podcast. Okay, so I'll start out with myself, then I'm gonna go skill, paradox, and then snark Tom.
That's not right to left.
Wait,
I don't care. That's what I say.
Well, I'm just making sure you don't know. I'm just.
Skill.
I don't know my directions.
Paradox. Yeah, don't try to figure it out. There's no logic to it.
Okay, let's do it. We're starting. This is it. This is it.
Go with the flow here.
All right, welcome everybody. This is ABOS Steel Talk.
With
Elder Vault.
With Elder Vault. It's Steel Talk with Elder Vault.
You're at Brotherhood Radio Network. That's BRN, if you forgot.
You have Vault, idiot.
To my right, we have Elder Skill. Give him a round of applause.
Hey.
To his right, we have Paradox, Paladin Commander.
At Victorium. How's everyone doing?
To my left, we have Elder Snarky. Give him a big round of applause as well.
Hey everyone, I'm Victorians.
And our very special guest for tonight, we have retired Elder Tom.
Woo, whiskey, whoa!
Hey. Also known as whiskey. For multiple reasons.
All right.
I'm out of whiskey.
With all of our beautiful introductions set away with, Tom, why don't you go ahead and give yourself a full introduction of kind of who you are, what you've done in the Brotherhood, and we'll kind of throw you some flash questions as they pop into our heads.
Well, I'm glad to have you back, Tom, that's for sure.
Awesome. I couldn't have thought of a better way to introduce yourself. That's perfect.
I do want to point out that I do want to point out that Snarky has branched off of your story ops and ran the same one for 11 times running now.
I mean, you know.
You hear that, ABOS?
Yeah, also, Snarky, I might want to, consult you on some future simulations, as it were.
No, sounds good. Sounds interesting.
All right. Let's do a little flash interview here. We'll go in the row of who I introduced this call in, so it'll be myself, then Skill, Paradox, and Snarky. We'll just hit you with some off the top questions. Is that good with you, Tom?
Before we get going on this, I would like to point out that Tom's audio is not included.
Ah, yes, you're gonna make sure that your audio is included.
You may want to go over your little intro and whatnot again
There
for
you go.
that case.
I'll be at that
My audio
time.
should be included now.
All right. So we all heard Tom's awesome introduction. However, you guys did not. So, Tom, off the beat again. We're super professional here at Steel Talk Radio. Go ahead and give us it again.
Sure. So you just make sure I heard you correctly. You just wanted me to retell you exactly what my introduction was.
Word
Do you
for
want to give us
word.
some flair?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah, for the
So-
fine people here listening.
Absolutely. For the record, I am a proud member, proud individual. I've been playing since beta, just like everyone else has. Only took one hiatus, one break. In my tenure of playing Fallout 76, I was a proud member and eventually an elder of the Brotherhood of Steel Exodus group. We lasted probably about 1.5, 2 years until attrition hit us. Eventually, I branched out and became an ambassador to ABOS, which was a ray of sunshine for me because I still enjoy the game and the Brotherhood aspect. Realized that even though our group was no longer cognitive or just being around, there was something greater out there that I wanted to be a part of. So I brought some of our members over here. Eventually, I joined the ranks. As an ambassador, I was the lowest of the low. I wasn't even a plebe. Eventually was honored to become an elder. I also wrote a lot of our storyboard content to help create a whole new world for all the individuals who joined in on the Adventures of Whiskey and those fun tales. A lot of the adventures were created by the individuals and their actions and the route that they chose. Glad to be here. Glad to have had a nice rested break in the real world. Back to have a little bit of fun, slow and steady. But thanks again, gentlemen.
Awesome. And everybody heard what we were going to do with Tom in the interview questions. Again, thank you, Tom, for another masterful introduction of yourself.
Indeed. Glad to have you back, Tom.
Absolutely.
That's, of course, up to the
All right.
lawyers. The terms and conditions of those agreements, which have not been arbitrated yet, but that's okay. That's for another day.
Alright, so I'll start up the questions. My off the top question for you is if you had to pick one or a few things that makes ABOS what ABOS is, what would you pick?
Here we go.
The best
Bit of
thing
a
that
loaded
makes
question.
ABOS is that it is open-minded. It is open to the idea that anyone can be themselves. And no matter where you come from, your creed, your religion, your race, you have the opportunity to grow with this group and to better yourself. Not only are you bettering yourself if you're willing to put yourself out there, but it also helps you grow. For the individual that's shy or doesn't have any management or leadership abilities, a lot of
Feel
times
called
people have to go into the military or they have to go to college just to, pay a price to learn these skills. Here you can actually be a part of something and practice those skill sets for real world environments. So that's one of the best things that can draw newer or older members to ABOS. It's the opportunity to take a risk and a chance in a consequence-free environment
I will
and
say
to
that
get positive feedback.
nothing screams being a leader like convincing someone to do a whole bunch of work for absolutely nothing.
Yeah, what was it? Like Napoleon Bonaparte said, people like die for a piece of ribbon or something.
Well,
Anyway,
I know for a
anyways,
fact we all enjoy it, and I love
Yeah,
the
yeah,
creative
yeah.
outlet that our group gives us.
yeah.
Also, if your whiskey helps
honestly,
too.
I mean, honestly,
Of course.
we really do put the Brotherhood and the Brotherhood seal here at the ABOS here.
I'm out of whiskey.
I'm sorry.
Sad day.
It sounds sour.
It is.
Sounds like
I
lack
can't
of
really-
planning.
Well, I got
Take
one
it,
glass.
though, the smack of sour, the better for the better.
How big is the glass? 64 ounces?
Well, I mean,
Ale,
I mean,
man.
it's,
Ale's the stuff to drink with it. Oh, that's whom it hurts thankfully to the pure pints of the world, this world's not.
thank you, Matthew,
So,
for the shout out.
Appreciate you, bud. So I believe it is now Skill that will be doing the flash question. Floor is yours, buddy.
I have to ask questions. Oh,
That's why you're
That is your
here.
question. You have the ability to ask questions or not to
All right,
ask questions.
all right. I got this.
That is a very good
note
question to
that
answer,
you-
and I appreciate your time.
No
Thank you
pressure.
very much.
No pressure.
I have quite a few questions for you. First of which is,
No, I won.
what's your favorite color?
Being colorblind, my favorite color is probably olive drab because that's the last color that I was able to see when I was in the military.
Actually, I'd probably
That's a-
say.
Good answer.
Yeah, actually, I'd probably say mine's probably closer to. Yeah. Yeah,
I
it's
heard you
kind
say
of
yours
toss
was
up.
fuchsia.
No. Mine's probably close. I mean, honestly, I tend to teeter totter between like dark blue and green myself, or like a black with like or some sort of like camo pattern myself. And
Black is not a color.
whatever. Okay, well, I tend to go either neutral or fucking flat with tie-dye shit.
Okay, so
Or
with
camo.
Skill's beautiful, colorful question, I give the floor off to you, Mr. Paradox.
Oh, yes. Wait. I forgot what were we talking about again?
Yeah, now you know how I feel, Paradox. Get fucked.
It is off the top of the head question. If you have a question for Tom that you would like to broadcast, floor is yours. If not, you feel free to pass it to Snarky.
I'll feel free to pass it. I mean, I didn't really have anything off the top of my head. That's kind of a spotlight thing for me. That's where my brain kind of like
Fair
glitches.
enough.
I actually do.
understand.
I actually do have a really good question.
Oh, go ahead, Skill.
Tom,
Yes, sir.
now that you're back to playing 76 regularly, are you going to be coming back to active duty?
Please.
Depends on,
You're gonna
depends
start
on the
off with?
lawyers and the terms and conditions of such said agreements. I
Well-
am married to a beautiful, lovely lawyer for over 5-6 years.
If you
Together
don't
for 16.
return, if you
feel
don't
like you had that
return
much
to
prepared.
active duty, your pension may be forfeit.
Well, I did get that nice high haul out of the deal.
Indeed.
Come
Well,
on,
we can talk
please.
All right, and now with that awesome question, who knows what will come of that one? Floor is yours, Snark.
So, Tom, have you, I know, like, you've had your moments and been inactive with your retirement and whatnot. Have you had the chance to look at the op debriefs from, like, the Remnant Hunt series?
I've had a little bit, but I do apologize. I haven't been 100% thorough.
Oh, okay, of course. That was all I wanted to think, though, was just, like, making sure that I do your storyboard justice.
From what I was looking at, it's a lot of hunting and gathering, which is exactly the route that I was going to be going down. So everything that you have done so far and what I've read, I do appreciate. So thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad to hear it.
Poor Rain's always getting
Validation.
attacked. Poor Rain's.
That's what we're all looking for, right?
Absolutely. If any of us have any questions to ask Tom, this is the last chance before we go on to our next segment.
All right, I got one.
Okay, awesome.
Do you miss active duty? Do you miss being an elder?
I do.
In all honesty.
In all honesty, having a break to focus in on work and taking this new promotion that I was offered and blessed with,
Oops.
I do miss the
Got
story
stretched
creative
for a
writing.
moment.
Because, to be honest, there have been some ideas that have come across my head that I've gotten the chance to write down to create new material. So if I was to go back to active duty, unfortunately, a lot of the members would probably be upset because I'd probably be like, okay, guys, we got another event. Come on down. We got another operation. And they might get a little tired, but that's a good thing to be tired of.
See,
Well,
I
it
don't
was a
think
nice
people
break.
get tired of that. I mean,
It keeps the content flooding in, so it is good.
shit, the last
I
2
mean,
weeks
you
we've
don't
had a
have to,
patrol
like, you
or an
know,
event or
burn
something
yourself
almost
out on
every.
stuff, you know.
We've had something almost every day for the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't heard anybody complain yet. Not that they would.
Special
complain
thanks to you
me.
guys hosting them, by the way.
I think
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
I think the
I
content
mean,
that I like to
granted,
create
schedules
for.
kind of conflicted for me, but yeah.
Oh, I get it. Scheduling is a difficulty, and that's one of the things I've had to learn when doing storyboards. Because for those that don't know, the content that I like to create is literally based off of the experience of the group. What you say, what you do, how you interact, the character that you are is what helps determine the final outcome. And that's what makes the story so unique is that I have to try and weave the story or finish the story based on the actions of what everyone else is doing. A little difficult, but quite fun and enjoyable, I feel. Great reward at the end.
Oh, definitely. It keeps it interactable for everyone else. That's what I really enjoy.
Yeah, you're
The
here.
one thing that I appreciate that you've done is so you've made these stories and you've taken aspects not just from 76. You have influenced or have influence in these from the timeline as a whole. So, like, because I remember the first op line that you ran, I
Executive order.
remember Executive
Mm-hmm.
Order, that you had the Legion, or like you hinted at it being the Legion in Appalachia.
Which,
That is correct.
Those
help
were
And
those
us.
were some
that's
dark
one
Yeah.
of the
times.
things that I remember, and I was like, like, so let's throw canon out of the side, because not every story has to be canon. That doesn't make a story good. That just makes that it canonically makes sense.
Right.
I mean, canon stories can be good. I'm not dogging them or anything.
Yeah, but I mean, it's always fun to, like, go on, like, a what if.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yeah, you have pulled off these great what ifs, and you've used the setting of 76 to play out not just the 76 timeline as a whole, but make a cohesive Fallout story, which I've found very unique because
And
somehow
highly
you've made it
enjoyable.
work.
Indeed.
And I mean, and you brought in a new era of operation storytelling. You introduced more people to the idea of kind of storyboarding it. So I know you like to call, you don't like to call mobs, you like to call them storyboards. But some people, and however people want to run operations, that's totally fine. Everybody has their own methods. But I feel like you help some people realize, like, if you sit down, write out a story, and kind of piece by piece it together, instead of, just sitting down and be, okay, I'm going to make an op. And then, one and done. One and dones are fine. Some of the best ops have been one and dones. But also, on the other hand, some of the best have been long, drawn-out storyboards. And people have sat down, and read out, okay, this is going to happen this one, this one, this one, this one.
Yep. Yep.
I think the greatest compliment you can get from a storyboard is when someone's angry and upset because they missed a week's or a weekend's adventure because they had to go to work or because family. It's like,
Life
I
happens.
missed the episode. What's going on? You can't watch it because if you weren't there, all the secondhand information or what this person said or what this person does, you missed it because you can't really redo it. There's no like rewinds on these type of adventures. That's why
Yeah.
they were so long.
It would
at
never
first.
come out the way you wanted it the first time.
Exactly. And that's why with the original ones, we had a cadre of individuals. And as the progression got better and people got more comfortable, I had less people to rely on. And there's maybe like 2 or 3 people that would be the cadre there to assist me. And Starkey always did. And obviously, Vault, I appreciate your guys' help in that.
Well, of
You
course.
helped deliver the story. And for those that don't know, one
Yeah, I mean,
episode,
I was there
operation
for
was like 10 hours of research.
Which one
Just
was
so you
that
guys know,
again?
there's a lot of work. Well, there was for executive order, there was probably 6 episodes in that one, so 6 weeks in there. Then we had miscommunication that had 5 weeks in there,
Mm-hmm.
and then we had War is Hell, which still is technically going on right now.
Oh yeah, it's still kind of open-ended, so maybe it might be time once you finally, or
Oh.
if you finally want to come back next to serve if you can revisit that.
Well, for you elders, is it okay if I drop a little hint? Maybe a
Ooh.
little something something if they're
A
all
little
if
something
the
something,
audience is
perhaps?
interested.
Well, technically, I'm a paladin
Fine
commander.
by me.
Yes.
So
More than welcome.
before I took my hiatus, I was still writing, obviously, and I still do it right now. But the last content that I was creating was called The Outsiders, and I always like to have a little teaser trailer right when we're about to finish a major campaign or major storyboard, and the teaser would always go with The Outsiders because that would be your title. And then it would just briefly say, "They came from out of nowhere, and now they're here. They're coming for you. But why? And what do they want? So you have no idea what's going on." Like a nice little teaser, like The Outsiders. And you always know that from executive order to miscommunication, the spelling was always important on these things, or if letters were capitalized over other ones. And in this one, it was the out OUT capital S Siders. So take what you want from that. Maybe this might get published, maybe it not. We'll have to talk to my agents, but we'll see. Something to stay tuned.
Cryptic. But man,
All
I'm
good
definitely
story
interested.
boards are started with cryptic. That's what draws everybody in.
So I saw the chat and Matthew asked a question and I'm going to kind of rework what he asked.
Sure.
But what stories do you have to share? What are some of your favorite ABOS memories?
My favorite AB West memories. So probably my favorite one was becoming a squad leader for Wilson's Fury, and then getting everyone or convincing everyone to build their bases around a certain key important area for Wilson's. And I'm just trying to drag it out, a little bit of little mystery, but Fort Defiance, because that's where Ted Wilson's last stand was, and we honored his memory by building a 360 perimeter around that area. I think to count, I had 11 individuals having their bases around there, and everyone was fighting for like key locations. There was a lot of squad-based memories that made it important to me. And if it wasn't for Wilson's, I don't know if I would have really excelled, because it was the squad, it was the team that helped boost me and to give me the confidence to keep up with these stories. So thank you.
Awesome answer. Thank you for sharing.
I remember back
Thank
then.
you, Matthew, for asking.
You definitely brought like a new light when it came to squad leading. That's for sure. You kept everyone very active, and then I remember Falcon. He drew up the bio for Wilson's Fury. That was really cool as well. There was a lot of stuff going on during that
If it wasn't for
era.
Falcon, I feel like our squad wouldn't have been so well organized. I was more of an inspiration, like get the fire starting. Falcon's the one who helped maintain it when I wasn't there. So I always appreciate his hard work.
Kept the bellows going.
He's still XO of Wilson's.
He is.
He's got a tattoo of it. He should show you sometime.
Oh, really?
Speaking
Left
of
cheek, I
camp
believe,
building
is what he was
too,
saying.
Reclaimer, current squad lead of Wilson's, is actually hosting an event right now as we speak of them building up a new area. I believe that they're over by Thunder Mountain at the moment, but that's where they're kind of building up a new Wilson's HQ.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely nice to see them taking it and running with it. That's good.
I know Reigns, he's squad leader Moreno's now, but to honor his time in Swafford's, he's built up a couple areas known as Swafford's, like Heights, and even Taggarty's Thunder. We've kind of stolen that idea too, and we're building up a central command area.
Mm-hmm.
So the idea of having
soon.
a condensed camp is another one
Work
of
in
your
progress.
ideas that you helped popularize, still active in the community today.
I can say that if the game lets me, I plan on building a nice base near Big Al's tattoo parlor, because there's a hidden bar underneath there. And Biz, he needs me.
Oh, damn. I've been spitballing an idea, but you actually made it work.
Well, if you're gonna have whiskey ever make a return, he's got to have his healthy flow of vitamin juice.
Right, yeah, his
Howdy,
elixir.
boys.
Making a return. That guy's been through a lot. I'm surprised
How
he's
many
still
nukes
going.
has he survived? Poor Night Shin losing his power armor. Oh, good times.
Don't get me started about surviving nuclear-related events.
Oh God.
If Night Shin can do it, so can you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you've like looked into my the archives, the AVOS archives, you'd see my lore of surviving nuclear events.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're all probably wearing power armor. Where whiskey and Night Shin weren't.
Sugar Grove.
Well, I sure was stuck in it for a good week or two. It was fused together.
I believe you said it was the best vacation you ever had.
It took me over a decade to stop seeing the
Oddly
numbers.
comfortable.
All right. I've looked at Snarky's comment in the chat, and nobody has commented on it, so we're gonna move on to the next segment.
Hey, Jam. Welcome to the podcast.
I have to do all of the sound effects vocally at some point.
Yeah.
I'll figure out how to do audio effects.
We don't quite have a soundboard yet. We're still working on that. It's not really in the budget, so...
I mean, the first season is always going to be a little bit,
Yeah. Right now our budget is
We're working
$0.
choppy.
off
So
a saltine cracker and a dream.
you can only do so much.
All right. I'll give everybody a couple seconds here to pull up the document that retired Sentinel Lightning was so graciously typed up for us.
Thank you, Lightning.
Yes, so thank you very
You suck,
much.
though.
Once all of us here have it pulled up, please let me know.
Oh, I do. I have it ready.
Okay.
Good on this end.
Sounds good. Just waiting on skill and paradox.
Still, did your controller die? Oh, okay, good. Make sure you guys wiggle your sticks.
Yep.
Stay
I
active.
don't wanna.
Oh yeah, it's a good idea.
Get out of here.
Well, you know what? Take a few laps. Go to the bar over here. I'll pan over to it. We got some Dutch's Dreams, Nuka Shine, rum. Go for free. Grab a beer stein.
Can I get anything
Okay.
still? Yeah. What do you take with your whiskey?
Just more whiskey.
Just ice.
Ice. Oh,
Is
okay.
that a 90
okay.
proof or grit less?
Here you go, sir.
So what are you waiting on me for? I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
No,
Just making sure you get that dock pulled up to the office.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just fucking with you.
You would.
Okay.
Of course I
Now
am.
that we all have it all written up, so again with the last episode, most of these we're going to be relying on Snarky, Skill, and Paradox. You guys are the old heads here, veteran-wise, so I'll kind of read these off, and we'll just go from there. If you have any more comments on it, go ahead and do so, but I'll just kind of read them. Do know that since these are so old, we're literally talking about the first year of the group, in like January, so operations didn't have names like most of them do nowadays.
That first one
So-
does have a name.
Okay,
it does.
so what's the name of the first one?
The first one.
Interloper.
Interloper. Okay, so the first one being
Hey, Ryan.
120-2103.
It was a 4-part op. I think the first one Drac ran was on a Saturday. It was like the first week I was there. And I was an initiate at that time.
Yeah, this is
And-
before
Not
my
hope
time.
so. Can't show too much favoritism.
Yeah, I think I'm the only one left from the Interlopers op line. I don't think.
Yeah, I wasn't there for
I don't.
that.
Yeah, I don't think Starkey or
I remember hearing
Paradox
about it, of
were-
course.
Yeah, it was a fun op line. We so all around Appalachia, you see all the I call them the interloper statues. I don't know if that's the correct name for them or not, but like Watoga has, I think, 3 or 4 of them.
I'll give us
There's-
an on-screen
Yeah.
visual.
They're like
what
those
they are. I
dwarven looking
got
things from Skyrim.
Yeah, there's
Good game.
there's one in the bottom of the tree in Tanagra Town. I can't think of where the others are. There's a fair few of them around
Mm-hmm.
Appalachia, and we went around and investigated them. And Drake
These
came
little
up with
fellas,
a
Kirby Art Decos.
Drake came up with a couple like little PvP op like things for it where we were engaged by cultists for it, and
Yep.
it was a lot of fun. We went down to the ash heap. Then we got the key card. We opened up the TNT Dome number 8, where the alien was frozen in the cryopod, which was at that
See
time,
that I remember.
obviously now it's completely different because we had the invaders from Beyond event, so there's more content towards the Zetans. But back then, that was the only real reference to the Zetans in '76. So, and a lot of people at that time, because we were only like 4 months into the game being released. So people were still discovering new things, and that was one of those things that not a lot of people knew about at that time. So it was all kind of just new to everybody. And we were able to take full advantage of not many people knowing that it even existed in the game. And that
What
was
an
that was
amazing time that
probably
was.
it
First few
really
months.
was. It was a great time for ops and stuff because not everybody didn't know everything about the game at that time. That was probably the best thing about it was seeing the new things.
Give me just a moment here. PB, I love you, buddy, but I'm gonna have to kick you. This is the podcast party, and I didn't lock it down.
You're out of here.
No, you're good. It's
Get
all.
out.
It's my fault for not locking the party.
Yeah.
PBK,
Yes.
everybody, round of applause.
Bye.
Round of
Princess
Yeah,
applause.
great guy.
Hey,
What a
thanks
dude.
for the little sneak flash visit, buddy.
I'm glad you showed up because I would have had no clue that the party was over.
Fair enough, yeah.
But yeah, that was a fun op. Drac and Peppy ran that one. It was Drac that wrote the whole thing and took command of it. Peppy did a lot of behind the scenes work for it. He tracked down. I think he actually did all the tracking down of the statue heads. So that was at that time, bit of a pain in the ass because Fallout Wiki still didn't know things.
Fallout Wiki wasn't a thing then.
I think Fallout Wiki was a thing
For
then.
'76, it was around, but not to
It
the
was
degree like because
it was developing.
yeah.
Hey, we know what's inside the vault, but that's about it.
So another cool thing with those heads. So like if we're going back to like further, I know in Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, those like so I'm gonna go with the name that they had in the Atomic Shop, the Kirby Art Deco heads. So in places like the Dunwich Boars from Fallout 3 and in the Point Lookout DLC with all of that, I forget what family it is, but it's one of those well-known things. So it's kind of like the Easter egg, but they still like put major quests in the games of HP Lovecraftian horror things. So they just call it the Dunwich because that's what they call the building in the game. But there's like these ancient gods, and they use those same statue heads that they also use with the interlopers. And I don't know if you guys remember from the most recent Fallout game besides 76 4, the Dunwich mining facility, like in the top right of the map, to where like if you go down in the mining facility, you like get the flashbacks that go in and out of like history and like a cult doing like a sacrifice.
Oh yeah.
But
That's,
I think alongside with maybe the aliens, they also could have some of that Lovecraftian cult that they've been building up behind the scenes too.
It can be hard to tell when it comes to Bethesda because they don't like to confirm things. They like to kind of leave it up to our imagination.
they like to kind of give, yeah, they definitely like to give up an air of
Which is good.
plausible deniability.
Yeah.
It's good and bad at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah. that double-edged sword.
There's a lot of gray areas in Elder Scrolls, Fallout, anything Bethesda.
And that's where great storyboard content comes from.
Indeed.
Hallelujah.
Allow to have those loopholes, you can send a fucking behemoth through.
And the tribes.
Don't
What
give
about
me
yeah.
money.
What about
Ooh,
the
man.
chuds?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Speaking of trogs, man, expeditions, man, I'm hoping to be able to slay some trogs in the pit, bro.
I want to kill.
Oh, yeah.
I want to kill some chuds.
Before they get
So-
you, you never know.
Next up,
Chemical
have-
hazard underground dwellers, right?
No, they're
The
the
offline.
half human, half horse people that live underground. You know.
Wait.
and Agartha.
Dwarven centaurs?
Wait,
Yeah.
wait. Gartha?
All right, moving on.
Wait,
Before I'll go on a whole tangent.
Wait,
Just-
isn't
just
that
if
the
you're
realm
curious,
that
look up
Richter
Agartha.
Tangents.
Dwarven
Just
centaurs.
look it up on your own time. I
Fan
could
target.
spend a whole hour explaining that.
Okay, I know what you're talking
So,
about, Skill.
Next line, we have the op line. This will be familiar to somebody here. Operation Last Resort in October. I think that's what it was. It was either November or October of 6/21/03.
Yeah, so it was
Okay.
2019? Yeah, 3
Yeah.
years ago.
Oh, well, Operation
Run
Oh.
by Snarky. It says here in the brief description that Lightning gave us, Snarky was a White Spring and he was a raider, and then he had Brotherhood tags that he entered into the Enclave system.
Yeah, because
Oh,
it
yeah,
was weird
actually,
that...
actually, I believe that was a multi-part series where initially,
yeah, there
we
was a
had
few
entered
phases
in-
before it. We had like a recon phase and like setups and yeah, it was a little bit of a thing. But
Yeah, at
the
one
main
point
part was the actual siege.
but I mean, it might be cool to go over it for those that don't know.
So what happened in there with the briefs that you get? So he said that you put in Brotherhood tags in there, and it made the defenses non-hostile to Brotherhood forces. So it also says that this was your first op as well.
Yeah, and considering the state of the game back then, it was a nightmare. The if you can imagine
Yeah,
trying
I
to
mean,
fight
honestly,
off
the
hundreds
frame
of
rate
robots
dropped.
at 10 frames, it was awful. But
10
it was still fun.
frames?
I mean, maybe
I
I'm
was
being
like-
generous.
I was lucky to have, like, 5 frames a second during that whole, like, clusterfuck. But it was definitely a damn good op. I mean, essentially, I mean, when you have, like, turrets around every corner and, like, infinite, like, enclave robots, like, coming at you.
Oh, it was nuts. But I always thought it was weird that even we could walk in there with our Brotherhood armor and like emblems blazing, and the White Spring still wouldn't shoot at us. So I decided to make an
Yeah.
op where we would get a code from one of the robots that is in the White Spring. I'm trying
I
to remember.
believe it was actually, if my memory serves me correctly, it was actually the Lotus spot over in the Midnet Swing. That basically we had to have like a scribe. I think it was like Pepe, like
Mhm.
aka retired founder Quinlan, hack a terminal for about 5 minutes while we like fight off like a horde of like White Springs robots and such.
Yeah.
But then there
So
was
we-
then there was the robot butler Robert, who would basically,
That's what it was.
since
Yeah,
he had-
General Robert,
Yeah, basically he was
the
invincible.
immortal
You couldn't-
robot, which I guess all robots are, but he was invincible nonetheless.
Yeah,
Um,
basically our weapons were completely ineffective.
Yeah, it was awful. We held that part for a bit. We got a code off one of the robots, then we brought it to like the mainframe, the Modus mainframe, uploaded it there along with the roster for everybody and like a bunch of our information, and then yeah, I wouldn't say the White Spring was considered ours then, but it was close enough.
I mean, you could kind of consider it sort of a neutral zone at least.
Yeah.
Lore-wise, it's how we wrote in that the robots were friendly towards us as well, especially within
Yeah.
the Enclave bunker, because being Brotherhood, the Enclave robots should be hostile towards us. So
you think
this
they would
was our
randomly
way
pick
of
up on it?
was our way of explaining it in our lore.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, the blood, sweat, and tears of that campaign definitely paid for it.
So the next one we have up here, skill. You Paradox Snark are going to be also again resident expert on this one. Uh, I'm at 11/5/2103, and it says that it was an operation ran by Drac, and it says that the Brotherhood forces tracked radio signals coming from Watoga, and they found the mayor's office and managed to use the technology there for the robots to become non-hostile.
I'll be honest. I don't remember that one as clear as I should. Um,
That's because you discovered the joy of whiskey at that time.
well, no.
There, all I remember is we went through Watoga. We went to kind of like those transmitters that are for that Enclave event. I think we uploaded something to those where we triangulated a location, and then yeah, it was almost like the whole last resort thing, but for Watoga, because again, like the robots don't attack you, so it was kind of like us weaseling our way into the system.
Didn't we use the Mayor for a Day quest where you have to defend the rooftop as well?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
whatever.
we used that as because I
I
think
missed that.
I think Drac made a second character so that
Just for
he
the
could do
event.
that just for that quest line.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh yeah. I see a question here. Paladin Brains says, "What was the name of the Opera first one again? If you have one."
For the first
The
stop,
interloper.
that was the
Interlopers.
interloper.
The
Yeah, I think it
interloper.
was just
All
the
right.
interloper.
Right.
Okay. Moving on to our next one here, run by somebody whose name I don't know who that is. Run by Hoger on
Oh wait.
12/7/2103.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm. Not everyone at once.
I will read through this one and we can move on if we so choose. So I'm not gonna read exactly what Lightning put in
I
there, but he
think
put a
I
very
may
good
have
joke
been.
right there in that first line. I appreciate that.
I
But
think
it says
It was
I may
actually a
have been
good op. I
absent.
remember being there.
I think I may have been absent during that one, so I don't really have an input on that.
Yeah,
So
I
it
remember being
says
there.
that
It was a good introduction to the story.
Brotherhood forces investigated Grafton and stumbled upon the pawn shop there. They discovered that the former owner was trying to find something, and they went around Appalachia trying to locate what the owner, a female, left behind. After locating all of the information and putting it together that they found, it led them to a secluded area in the northeastern part of the Appalachia. They went there and they discovered Vault 79, and that this was one of the first ones hosted by said member Hoger, and it paved the way for Wastelanders that was slated to release 4 months later.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, that was kind of like, God, that's like really old content, so forgive me. But you had like those evidence things, those like folders that you had to collect, and then you put them on like that chalkboard with the black
Yeah,
light.
At the
I
pawn
believe they
shop.
were like
Yeah,
yeah,
it was kind of
there
like
were like
everyone doing that all
several
at once.
yeah several. Basically, the way I remember it, Brian for cutting in here. Basically, there were like about 8 pieces of like postcards or whatever with like around
Evidence or something, yeah.
various parts around Appalachia that would basically piece together at like a storyboard over at the Grafton Pawn Shop that would give you a player specific code that you could get into the what was it, Vault 87 or wait no 79. Ugh. You get
There's so
messed
many
up.
vaults.
So,
One is
yeah,
enough.
anyway, basically the vault with the gold. You know what I mean. Basically, it gives you a player specific code for your campaign to get in there. But you'd have to like go around like collect like the various little postcards of notes saying, "Hey, blah blah, the owner and such." Anyway, but
Nothing but good times.
It was a good op to get everyone caught up before Wastelanders was actually coming out. That was what I appreciated about it.
yeah,
So, the next one here,
and it really
it doesn't have a name, and I cross researched the Discord server, so I'm assuming that somebody else posted it for Trip. but I'm at 12/20/2103. It says that it was an operation ran by Trip, and that they picked up some radio transmissions that indicated an Enclave scientist had defected and was on the run. Brotherhood forces went to rescue the scientist, but ended up getting in a fight with Enclave forces along the way. And Lightning annotated here that he messed up in this operation and threw an orbital scan instead of a strike. And this was the first time that BOS forces and our group canonically had an Enclave member in custody.
I don't think I attended that one, unfortunately, but I do remember it being referenced because it was a good one.
Man, yeah, I don't really have anything on this one either.
Some even say to this day we still have that that Enclave scientist.
Forgotten in a cage somewhere.
Oh wait.
Were you there for that one, Skill?
Oh wait, I think I may have him locked up in in Tartarus.
Skill's dead, okay.
Your controller died, bud.
Good times.
I can tell that Lightning may or may not have an affinity for you because he put quite a bit of your operations in here.
I mean,
That's hearsay, Your Honor.
No,
It's very selective, I see.
From Ghost.
So the next one here was on 1/10/2104, ran by Snarky. It says after a mission gone wrong in the Toxic Valley, Snarky, Trip, and Skill were captured by Brotherhood.
yep.
Brotherhood
That
forces
was awful.
then retreated to Grafton Dam, where they were attacked by the kidnappers. There was a short gunfight that ended up in a truce, revealing themselves to be Texas Rangers looking for a friend of theirs, and were told that the Brotherhood kidnapped them. This was Tex Rogers, a member of the original Brotherhood. This was replayed to the group, and they left. The op was later recreated in a simulation.
Yeah, based on my simulation here.
Yeah,
Simulation
that was
chamber.
this. We did like a redo of. It was Operation Lone Star was the title of it because Texas thought it was funny. Anyways, that was like from my experience like the first op that we actually had people act and like do rules and stuff. Kind of before that, it was just the typical location to location gathering stuff, at Victorium Brotherhood stuff. But this was definitely something new, and it was. I remember it was really cool because when we had when we had the Rangers surrounded, Buck he was the CO of the forces because I had to act as the hostiles. He actually ordered a team to keep us at gunpoint while he went to Camp Venture and then got the holotape that talks about Tex Rogers and saying that like how much he
Yeah,
loved
and
the
I
Brotherhood.
believe actually I was like on the spot looking for that shit myself.
Yeah.
To be honest.
And I don't know, like that wasn't part of the script.
It was totally improv, but we made it work.
But I was just expecting everyone to remember it and then be like, oh yeah, like someone was gonna speak up and say something about it. But no, Buck took the initiative there for once.
I think I may have been the one to speak up. I kind of like semi-assumed command at that point. I think.
And then we did a simulation for a redo of that.
I
And,
remember you and I were two of the hostiles for that. Who were the
Yeah,
other
I-
hostiles? Or who was the other one? There was three of us.
yeah,
I can't remember who the third was.
Yeah, that's a good. I'm not sure.
for some reason I don't
Maybe-
remember the redo very much, but I remember the first one vividly.
So who
Yeah, I
was
don't-
the third one?
Oh, it was you, Trip and I,
Was
Oh,
it-
Trip
okay.
was-
because like because we went to Grafton Dam, we were investigating a strange signal as
Oh yeah,
as
and
we
there was
always
like
do.
and there was like a weird scuffle communication thing, and you guys.
Yeah, because
Alright.
we came across pulse mines and then they shorted out our transmission and then our power armor because we don't leave our power armor at back then. It was, I don't know, just what we did. And yeah, and that's when we kind of like changed our uniforms real quick. Went all with the ranger coat that was brand new for the Fallout first at the time. And then yeah, just had a little brief firefight. Obviously got our asses kicked because that's how it was scripted. Yeah, no, it was fun.
I mean,
It was really good.
people in bright armor versus like at least like a proper squad of power armor coming at you.
I think I would redo that op over and over and over again. Like that was
I mean,
just.
honestly,
I loved it.
I kind of want to like I mean, to be honest, I'd probably like to run like Operation Last Resort as like a training exercise to like show you.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
You could always go back and do that too.
Do you really know your stuff? Can you handle being put into the fire?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Well, now that the servers are a lot more stable, might actually be a lot of fun.
All right. Well,
Now-
stand by, brothers and sisters of steel.
Now that we have Skill back to the table, Skill, this is one of your operations. See if you remember this one. We're at 3-7 of 2104.
Mm-hmm.
This was ran by Elder Skill, and it says that Brotherhood forces heard rumors of a possibility of Appalachia being attacked. We went around to different sites in Appalachia and secured radio communications to communicate with said people. When they arrived, then we would have established contact.
I
This
was
was a
running
major
security, I
op
believe.
that paved the way for the Wastelanders operation. Want to tell us about it, Mr. Senior Skill?
High elders, sir.
Well, I don't remember a lot of it, to be honest with you. I do remember we went around to quite a few vertebrate crash sites to like look for people that were coming back. God, I can't remember that one.
It was a
so
long time ago, to be fair.
It was
Yeah.
so long ago.
Yeah, it's
See-
a little fuzzy even for me here.
From my knowledge of this operation, this is where Exodus started joining in on ABOS's, like doing joint ops. And I was actually hearing rumors from, at the time, Elder Skill was telling how they would actually create an entire perimeter around Foundation before Foundation was even there, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, back
And then
it
when
was
Foundation
first
actually
off,
popped
yeah.
into place, lo and behold, ABOS is right there, right with a warm greeting.
That actually brings
As
up,
warm as it gets for new people coming to the region.
that brings up a really cool little tidbit. I know Thomas talks a lot about Exodus. Exodus was our first, if I'm not mistaken, alliance.
Technically,
remember-
no.
Technically, who would be the first?
Exodus 1.0.
Exodus 1.0.
So,
Care to
So-
elaborate?
well, Tom already knows all of this. I suppose probably nobody else does because we never really advertised about it. But back in the day, Exodus was run by a guy named Comio, General Comio. And that brotherhood, under his authority, was struggling. And I don't know the exact internal reasons for the split, but basically, that brotherhood branched off into two different brotherhoods. One being Exodus, the other being Comio's brotherhood. I don't remember the name of it anymore. Which shortly thereafter folded. And then Exodus emerged from the ashes and took over, I would imagine, a large majority of the active members, including Tom, Jarp, Tiad, Reaper, Matt Manga, Joe, Cartwright. Those are just the ones that I remember, but there was, I'm sure, quite a few others.
A lot
And
of
that's
notable names
where-
there.
And that's where Exodus actually came from. Why they called themselves Exodus was because they exiled themselves from that original Brotherhood group. Am I correct, Tom?
You're spot on, sir.
Yeah. Chapter's got a lot of history.
Just had to set a collective.
That's why I'm glad I've been able to do the ambassador stuff for so long, because it's
Yeah.
given me a little bit of a window into like the other group's history too, which is
No, it's
like always
definitely
a
cool to
cool
share the
thing to
information.
like, because Cartwright was a
always
major leader with Exodus for quite a while. And the funny thing about that is Exodus being our very first ally,
Technically.
and Cartwright was the leader of it, and also our second ally of ever was the Bloody Eighth, which is still around today. We're still allies with them. Great group of guys. And that group, back in the day, before Exodus and Kobio's Brotherhood group, Cartwright started that group as well.
One big brotherhood family.
As it should be.
Now, I know that alliances in the Fallout community have somewhat of a disdain from what I understand, but with ours, luckily, um, you know, so I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. ABOS for a long time, besides the Bloody Eighth and Exodus, from my knowledge, we were very like, I don't know what the word's escaping me, but we kept to ourselves. We were
Isolated.
Isolationist.
isolated. We were very isolationist.
Yeah, we
Until-
were very isolationist up until about a year ago, I'd say.
Good
Yeah.
times.
And because I think a lot of that stuff's hard to do, and at that time, from what I understand, when people allied, it was for like PvP reasons, which our group has always been against.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
PvP, because
Yeah,
PvPing between
we've
two
been,
mutual parties is fine.
PvP is more situational.
Yeah.
Yeah, the kind of
We use it
PvP
for
that they
roleplay all the
did
time.
was abusive, griefing PvP, not two people having fun together.
Yeah.
So that was
Which
the
is not
reason-
right.
Exactly.
Hey,
So for a long
it's all-
time, we
it's all-
stayed out
It's
of
all
it.
good if you want to have a duel, but don't be a dick.
But then we opened up, like Skill said, a year ago, and we've established ourselves with SDA, a great group there, and back to that ambassador thing. Skill's pretty much head ambassador of the group. I know myself and Snarky also help out, but Skill to the more major degree, and it opens up a lot of cool avenues. We would have never met Tom. A lot of our members, they came from other groups at some point in time. I mean, we've been around since January 1st, 2019, going on 3 years. And, we're bound to cross paths with other groups in that 3 years. And thankfully, because of the awesome group of people we have here, I'd say like 90% of it has been great, and just meeting other awesome communities in Fallout to share ideas and content with. It's been an awesome journey.
Even some of our more senior members have come from other groups, like BOS 76. That's where Paladin Buck came from.
He was elder for a short time,
Elder
you know?
Buck. Good.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Those were times.
It's strange to hear Elder Buck, but I'm just so used to hearing Paladin Buck that, like,
Yeah, because he was in our group, for sure.
yeah.
That's
so it's
bucked
like that's bucked up.
Good times. Good times.
And that's the stream everyone.
Speaking of
You guys-
segue there.
Do you guys know what happens when you drop a sheep, a drum, and a snake off a mountain?
What?
Probably specific though.
But
Yep, okay, next subject.
And cue outro music.
Dun 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 dun.
Ghost, I just read your DM. Go ahead. Those instruments are there. Feel free. So, I closed out my phone like a genius person. So, let me pull up my segment here. Yes, okay. So, I wanted to make sure that we had enough time segmented for... Now, if you, and when I say you, Tom and Snarky, you guys have, you took your time off, you put in your dues, Tom, and Snarky kind of picked up where you left off with, the remnant If you guys wish to talk about that, you guys can. If not, we can move on to slated subjects.
Well, it was your original idea, Tom. So if you don't mind me like introducing the idea and like the whole idea with Blackburn and
Go right ahead, because we're gonna have to do a history lesson if they really want to hear kind of the brief synopsis of what transpired.
oh, I don't mind. I wasn't there for all of them, so I
You
think
want me
that's
to
what they're
start
here
and
for
then
is a
let you
history
go with
lesson.
the conclusion of the remnant?
Yeah, and then I'll take off with the remnant hunt stuff.
All right. So earlier in the conversation, we were talking about storyboard and different contents, and I brought up a certain storyboard or title called Executive Order. Executive Order started off when we got this weird communication coming from out of the most obnoxious place, Waverly Willards. You know, who would think of starting an op, let alone the beginning of a journey at Waverly Willards Water Park? You know, we got this weird transmission, and one of our Brotherhood teams basically had to lead a patrol because we were running low on supplies, you know, to scout out this
As
area.
always.
And it just coincidentally happened that a certain team, who was, you know, two individuals, just, you know, a sniper and a scout, you know, they were stuck up at the Crocodile Head, you know, getting attacked by, they don't even know what the heck is going on. And we learned to love, we learned to hate. There's a lot of mistrust. There's, you know, team building exercises that led us all the way back down to Charleston. You know, led us to the Two Brothers, which is what we'll call the Garahan Estate and the Hornwright Estate. You know, looking for this lost treasure, you know, and supplies, because this group, you know, was looking for something. The Brotherhood of Steel needed something, and eventually that led us to, you know, an interesting dynamic relationship. Like, did we trust this outside group and what they were doing, or were they just telling us lies or telling us what we had to do? So each episode, everyone was getting a little bit more mistrusting of them and watching us really closely,
More than usual.
more than
Yeah, I
usual.
mean,
And then,
the
you know,
first couple of ways I was kind of like suspicious, but then you know, like I figured out, you know what, he's a good guy, kind of like myself, really.
or so you think, but, you know, you had to be there. It's part of the fun, which led us to miscommunication, which led us further east into the contour of the map where we hit Valor Galleria. We were looking at Tanagra Town, and then we started heading north a little bit to my favorite, which is Harper's Ferry. We're
That's right.
now starting to get a little bit into the Enclave and some scientists and some 1,000 yard snipers, where even our best BOS snipers can only hit at least 800 marks with our ballistic rifles, but these are energy-based rifles. What is going on? And then eventually our hero, antagonist, protagonist, Whiskey, gets, you know, caught up, tries to head back home to wherever it may be. That's still classified, but eventually he gets caught up, gets captured, gets brought back to Appalachia. He gets rescued when originally a couple team members got lost. So a lot of miscommunication in that story, which eventually brought word that this Neo order of the Enclave, called the Revenant Enclave, which is, you know, the sons and daughters of the original founders, were amped up on testosterone, chemicals, purple haze is what we
Fanatical,
finger
even.
quoted called it. Our fanatics, exactly. They're the ones led by Professor Blackburn and someone by the name of Lady Blackwater, trying to take over Appalachia, but they were doing it the most extremist way. They didn't care. They were just nuking things. And they were taking over certain key areas, and if they didn't like what they wanted, they nuked it. You know, we came under multiple attacks with that. We eventually had our forces divided, so we had two fronts, one in Charleston, one in Watauga, and our lovely Cranberry Bog area. So there was a lot going on. Eventually, Whiskey was taken out of commission, so was Night Shin, who we brought into the fray because we needed assistance. And then that's where my character had to step away, and Elder Snarky took the reins and brought the assault onto the remnants, and I'll let him take it from here.
Yeah, so with the first part, like we were always on the back pedal. The remnant were always on our heels, just kicking our ass left and right center. So when we finally had the chance to strike back, that's when I started taking over with the Remnant Hunt series. It started off with Junior Captain Saugus Flare. He was a Remnant heavy weapons trainer, and he was responsible for training a fanatical group of Hellfire troopers that, well, stood up to the name a little too well and used flamers. Once we had them defeated, we took care of a lot of the heavy infantry that the Remnant were fielding, so he gave us an edge there. Next target was Major Kyle the Sight Haiha, and he was as Tom mentioned before, one of the snipers that could make those 1,000-yard shots. I tried to kind of make a call back to that. We were meant to hunt him, but then it turned around and he ended up hunting us. And we chased him around in the mire for a good while there, and then eventually we came across him at a bunker. And while he had a bunch of gunshot wounds, he may have died of old age. So yeah. After that was... we had the third Remnant Hunt, which was actually led by Reclaimer. So it was actually interesting for him to come in and do that little bit there. I would have to look up the Operation Debrief for that. Just one moment.
God, Sturkey, you can't even.
And one of the things that you learn about the Remnant is that because they're such extremists, they literally use their vitality, their youth, their vigor to give them that edge. But ultimately, you're going to see at what cost. What happened?
Oh, the costs were high, that's for sure. Lots of wounded, lots of lost, nameless knights, of course. Never anybody in the group. No, plot armor is too strong for that. So, with Reclaimer's little bit, with Remnant Hunt 3, we had marked 2 targets around Appalachia, and they were holding strategic value to the Remnant. One of them was holding the ammunition factory, and then the other one was at the Federal Disposal Field. So, we hit those locations, and built some fortifications up and drew their attention. One of them was Lieutenant Colonel Nathaniel Barron, which I remember actually playing him. That was actually really fun. Eventually, we took him out after an extensive firefight. And then, yeah, I mean, that was it. We just took out the target and took the 2 locations, the 2 targets, and then, yeah, we vertebrated back to base and had debrief.
But the biggest thing is that Professor Blackburn was killed, and what we all remember. But somehow the Remnant, using Whiskey's team, was able to reanimate him into a set of power armor frame. And originally we were just minutes assaulting White Springs, and he uploaded himself into the net, so he is still out there. We have his frame. It's under lockdown. It's at one of Whiskey's looted bases, hidden away, that only a few others are aware of. But if he were to ever get back into his power armor frame and get back out of the net with the knowledge that he's probably gained and deciphered from everything, it would be a force to be reckoned with.
Oh, don't worry. We will be concluding that for sure.
Oh, I'll make damn sure. I will break formation, just saying.
You
heard it here, folks, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to break formation. Never in the years as he's been playing has he broke formation until now.
It's basically to take
we
down
then went
like
on
that
to
dire of a threat. Absolutely.
We then went on to Remnant Hunt 4, which ended up being the head scientist Doppelganger. He was the scientist that was behind the whole clone fiasco that Lightning was involved in when he was kidnapped and his DNA was stolen to make a perfect clone army. It turns out that one of my old colleagues from when I was in the Canadian Forces in Fallout lore, it was Colonel Coldrink, I think it was his name, and He had a bunch of clones at the ammunition facility, and he had it too well fortified that we had to split off a team that was led by, at the time, Paladin Commander Warrior, and they had a power plant set up at Monongah. Ugh, Monongah. And once they had that all shut down, the defenses around the ammunition factory were shut down, and then we were able to actually detain Colonel Coldrank. And actually, I think Skill, you played him. That was we had a lot of back and forth there. It was kind of funny.
Yeah. I just remember being a dick.
Imagine.
No. No. Say it ain't so.
What?
And then the most recent Remnant Hunt we had was Remnant Hunt 5, and that was against Colonel Ackerson, which Reigns knows all too well. Because
Colonel Ackerson.
all my homies.
I'm back, by the way. I had to go potty.
Oh, welcome back. Didn't even know you left.
Yes, well, I'm gonna have to do the same really quick.
Well, we had a whole thing with Colonel Ackerson where we were about to step out to actually hunt him down, and then all of a sudden the ABOS Fearful came under attack, and man, he just almost destroyed it. And once we actually brought him on the back pedal, we were able to chase him to a little base that he had, the ammunition, converted ammunition facility. And then we pushed him down along the road, and he was able to raid Paradox's base on the way, which was kind of unscripted.
I do want to just point out, Starkey, that your airship has officially reached the limit of the budget.
Yeah,
and
it's been there.
you're gonna lose funding.
Hey, that new engine that I went out and had a whole fiasco trying to find, that took up majority of it. That was a bitch of an install.
Then take care of the thing, because honestly, we're not replacing it anymore.
We can't replace
go
it.
back.
That was
You
a
said we had
one-time
funding.
engine.
You sure you weren't just
Robco.
redirecting that into your own like PayPal or something? Because I never.
We don't have.
It's
PayPal
called the
fraud.
retirement fund, son.
We have caps only.
Absolutely.
But yeah, after that big fight with Colonel Ackerson, we were able to defeat him, and then we had a long
Because he
fight.
let you.
Of course, yeah, it was scripted. And then we had a long fight with a really powerful remnant soldier in power armor. That Skill played. And he had his armor was marked as Sigma Team, and that is actually what the next part of the Remnant Hunt's going to be. We're going to be taking care of them, and that's the second last loose end for this Remnant story. So stay tuned for parts 6 and 7, and that'll be the end of the Remnant Hunt.
You guys were barely able to take him down.
Yeah, so it's going to be a tough fight, that's for sure.
Real. It was. We had to pull out the L word weapons.
There was
an
L
L word restriction.
That was absolutely hilarious, though. There was I swear to God, there was 10 of you all simultaneously shooting me with explosive heavies, and I was literally just spinning and shooting my VE-50. It was ridiculous. Just spin and shoot, spin and shoot.
I remember when I was playing Colonel Ackerson, I had already died at that point for the script. I was just watching that whole time, just still taking everyone on in that diner. It was quite a sight.
I got some punches in. I dialed in on Reigns a handful of times, and I really enjoyed that.
Oh, I remember chasing Reigns around with a plasma cutter. That was great.
I killed Lightning and Reigns. I don't think I enjoyed killing anyone as much as Lightning and Reigns.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Right.
I'll admit this guiltfully, but not really. When you were running away to go over to Paradox's camp, I may or may not have pulled out an L word and just lit you up until you died. Definitely didn't
We can
happen.
neither confirm nor deny.
I think mean is a subjective term, right?
But as you can tell, this has been over a 1.5 year long story.
Oh yeah, and hopefully it'll be concluding within the next month or so, or the next few weeks at least.
Stay tuned.
Let's hope. It's a good outline, but I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it ends.
All right. What was the next stop that we were going to be discussing?
Well, that's the teaser for the new content that we dropped earlier about the Outsiders.
I do have to step away for a moment.
Okay. Um,
But that is
I am
the
gonna go
reminiscing
ahead
part.
and just pick one from the debrief because the last two here, go figure, were also from Snarky.
Mm.
I love you, Snarky, but that is now the fourth one. I think Lightning. May
I'm
have
just
a
saying,
favorite.
when I write an op, like it's usually I've put a lot of thought into it and like acting and story, and it's just that this group is my outlet for creative writing. I really like writing when I was a kid and wanted to act, but acting is obviously way too freaking scary, so I did never do it.
Oh, it's not that bad.
No,
It's
it is.
getting on stage.
No, it's
It's
awful.
not that bad.
It's the worst.
No, it's not.
I- So many things
when I
do,
did
but
it,
it's
it
fun.
was so you're putting too much pressure on yourself, homie. You
I
gotta
know.
relax.
Nope.
You don't even look as ugly. They put makeup on you. Alright, so I'm gonna go roll through here and I'm gonna go pick out whatever I land on my thumb here. And we'll see what it is. Because I think Lightning is your fanboy.
I mean,
No one
can you
gets
blame
that.
Let's see here. Let's do one of
I think it was called
Trying to pick
PBK
one down
Google It. That was always my favorite app.
PBK Google It.
Mhm.
That is a term I've heard all too often.
I know, it's a great term. Someday we'll explain
See,
it.
I
Maybe
was-
in episode 3 or something.
I was tagged in this one as attending. Oh, you know what? I'll talk about one of mine. Go figure that I picked one of mine. Do you guys remember Project Boston?
I think it
That
eludes
was
us.
the
I may
that
have not
was
have
so
been that one.
it was a joint operation concept from Elder Council as a whole. Myself and Trip were the main factors. This was when we had the idea of making the robots that were going to fight each other. Remember Yeah.
Yes.
So
We found the warehouse and
I'll
everything
read-
for him.
I'll read the description. So, Black Site Gamma was declassified. I made a camp that was basically, do you remember the Pentagon from 3? Where they
The
built
Citadel.
Liberty
I think you
Prime?
mean the Citadel.
The
Citadel,
yes.
yeah. Okay, fine, we'll call it that instead of the Pentagon.
That's what
So
it
the
was.
Citadel, it was called the Citadel. So the Citadel, they had in the middle there in the right wing laboratory. No, it was actually the middle. The right wing was all the meeting rooms. So you go in there and you see Liberty Prime being built up. That was kind of the idea. And we hit up Gorge Junkyard. We hit up Greg's Mining Supplies, Wade Airport, basically anywhere that you could find huge amounts of steels and mechanical works. And the idea was to have two giant robots fight each other out in the middle of New Gab. Trip was going to build a giant BOS robot, and I was going to drive. I made like an AT Walker from Star Wars, but for the Enclave. And then
I
Trip
remember
was going
seeing
to
that
have like a
prototype
Power
stage.
Ranger Mighty Morphin robot for the Brotherhood. The best way to explain it. And I wish we could have done that because that would have been one of the most coolest things ever done.
Battling
It
bases.
would have been badass. This happened in. I don't have a date down there, but I can tell you the day happened. It happened August 9th, 2105, we'll say. Let's see, I'll pick another one here. I'll give you guys the dates so that way you can also pull up to these two. So if we go to... I remember this one. Did it really... Oh, you're never going to believe what just happened to me. It just refreshed my screen all the way back to the bottom.
Ooh.
Okay, so I'll just talk about it. So do you guys remember James's Operation Voidwalker?
That was the one where we went to the vertebrates and we were taking some sort of code, but I don't,
Yes, that's what it was.
yeah.
So we went around Appalachia, and I think we hit damn near every vertebrate
Again.
on the map.
You're talking about the Opline where we rode in the Brotherhood?
Yeah, no Voidwalker from James.
Oh. Okay.
Hey, I'm going through the actual Operation Debrief channel right now. I'm picking out some.
James actually mapped all the vertebrates too.
Yep, he prepared
man.
that one pretty well.
That guy puts in work.
I miss him. He doesn't love us anymore.
Shout out to you, James, if you
Ooh.
ever hear this.
Here's a cool one. This is part of an op line that Paladin Alpha wrote. You remember the cyborg storyline that he had?
Yep,
Yeah.
I played one of those cyborgs.
Same.
Oh
Good
yeah.
time.
So I'm going to go all the way up to I'm going to try and find the first one that he posted. It's going to...
I remember every time I
I can only
died.
find two.
Every time I died,
Snarky-
initializing death protocol.
Snarky was the prototype cyborg. Then by the time they made
off
me,
and, died.
they had-
yeah.
Snarky was the prototype. But then by the time they made me, I was, they had all the kinks worked out. That's why I'm so
Yeah.
much better.
He was the perfected version. I was just some scrappy prototype. Much like how it is in the real lore. Yeah.
So I remember this actually means skill. Like one night when we went through all the op debriefs and went canonized it, we actually went on a 15-minute tangent of the Institute to find out, okay, could this be canon? And it turns out that by the kind of time frame that he hosted that, the Institute could have had very early prototypes of synths.
Eat
We're
it.
talking first gen synths.
Eat it, Vault.
Now we came and we agreed it was canon because his wasn't entire. I think towards the end he might have had some, but these were cyborgs. So it was a cool parallel. I don't think he did it on purpose, but it worked together so well with just the coincidence of that happening.
Yeah, the first synths were created by the Institute between 2040 or 2140 and 2172. I thought it was.
That
yeah,
was
it was
something like
around
that.
that time frame.
That's the thing that we know of. The first,
Yeah.
that 2140 or something like that was the first documented prototype of the synth, meaning that because it would stand to reason that before they made the synth, they would have a very advanced understanding of robotics,
like an
enough
android
to
or something.
yeah, enough to create a a light human acting robot, or at least a very intuitive robot, meaning cyborg.
Yeah, because I think at that point, they either had just
I
the
think
frame of a
technically
robot walking.
cyborg is a amalgamation of tech and an organic being, technically.
Yeah, and it was just a cool parallel there, cyborgs on, not too far in Virginia, and then all the way up in Boston, Manhattan area. I think that's where Boston is. Area,
It's like the stepping
Manhattan.
stone.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, it was cool. It was just one of those ones that's something that now I will always associate with that. Tom's walking over to the mugs. No, don't sit down. Go over there to the mugs. I saw you want one.
Oh, they look a little empty. There's some nice fresh ones on the table, but now those are gone too. But it is
Alright,
nice
let me go
how
back.
everyone has created their own ops, their own storylines, and everyone kind of just takes an idea, a piece of it, and just runs with it. So you're literally just going off of one idea, and then it just spreads like a wildfire,
Oh yeah,
which is the best thing you could ever ask for.
that's what I love about this group. It's just the creative outlet. It's awesome to be able to get those ideas out there. Because I don't know how many times I watch a video or even Brotherhood lore or something, and it's man, we could all act that out, and it would be super cool.
Right.
Before we move on to the next segment, do any of you guys have some notable operations that you want to bring to the table?
None. They were all
Let us
terrible.
know in the comments below.
I
Right?
like to patrols and ops where everyone is like, "Hey, you got to tell me what's happening." And I'm like, "No, I can't tell you. Come on, we really need to know what's going on."
That's
I'll
when
have
you
a
know
big question.
you've
Nope,
done good.
nope.
Then you get a
just have to wait and
volunteer.
see.
Then you get a volunteer that doesn't keep her mouth shut.
Yeah, we can't have that. We can't have nice things.
Do all that.
She who shall not be named.
They.
Oops.
Oh, they. No, she.
We would just like to say
Whomever.
y'all who don't like to talk.
I know. Anyway.
Yeah, there we go.
But moving on.
The next topic that we have slated here in the outline is, because it closed again, chat Q&A. What do you guys have? Do you have any pending questions that you would like to have answered?
Anything from like previous ops, maybe loose ends, or like there may be a direction you wanted to go in, any op ideas you may have, you want to discuss.
Now's the time. While you guys are typing up those, I'll do a walk around tour like I did last time of the new and improved room that will inevitably get changed.
Ghost, I think it is 3.2 knots.
I believe there's a question asking, will whiskey return? You never know.
Alright, well, I'm glad we got that figured out.
Quite possibly. Who knows?
No, it's always good to have cliffhangers and stuff, because you never know when you might want to come back to a story.
I never come back to a story. I don't even finish my stories.
No, you like to redo them
That's
over and over
very
again.
true.
I remember that one op, the one op where Trip was captured and being brainwashed. We
Yep.
read that op 3 freaking times. Because every
However, it
time
was a good op,
I scheduled the first op, and it went great all 3 times.
Yep.
But every single time, then we had, like, it was scheduling conflicts after that because the following Saturday, which is the day I have the most free time typically, there'd already be an op or something. I don't want to do a double header.
Mhm.
And, like,
My bad.
then-
My bad.
like it just like, well, no, it had nothing to do with you. But like we were just, it's either I was busy or the schedule was full. So then like 2 months would go by of that, and then everybody would have forgotten about it. So I'd rerun it again.
Yep. Well, that's like the
There's a
hardest
twist
part when
this
it comes
time,
to
guys.
ops is like getting all your volunteers and stuff on. And I don't know how many times I've had to postpone ops for weeks just because like the people I really needed as volunteers just couldn't be there. Life comes first.
Right.
I can't tell you how many ops I have. I have a whole op line on the back burner, just waiting for like a rainy day in case something goes awry.
I have one that I've been thinking about running, but I got a lot of details to work out with it yet.
Does that have anything to do with maybe Trip coming
Yeah.
back?
Don't worry about it.
Just
Mhm.
like you know, like the other ones.
Well, I'll
Who's
give
this
you
other
a
one
hint.
speaking of?
It has something to do with a certain someone coming back.
That could be anybody.
Well,
Really?
it could be anybody, but I'll give you a hint. Would you like a hint?
I'd like
What
a
you
hint.
got?
I think we'd love a hint.
They sat on the elder council.
That actually narrows it down.
That
Alt?
could be like. I'm
Alt
still
already
here
came back.
that I know of. Yeah, I had my flashback.
So I might be having a lost memory here.
Ooh, are we talking like back from the super old days? Perhaps I'm thinking.
I'm not
Apparently,
gonna tell you any more than that.
That's
Are
good.
they
No, it's good.
playing
Let them wonder.
Mario Kart right now?
What?
Because that would help narrow the parameters a little bit.
Well, they were an elder. That's all I can
Or
tell
were
you.
they playing Mario Kart right now?
Ghost, I
I don't-
don't think so, but I would
Go
personally
fish.
love for him to come back.
I will have to check if they are playing Mario Kart right now.
Where are you
How
seeing
would
the
you-
questions?
Chat.
The chat.
I don't
And
even see the
Ghost,
chat.
My
you can
boys.
retire
Oh.
anytime you want. You get up and do it,
Apparently-
just say, hey, I want to be retired.
Wait, what?
That's what I did.
Oh,
Who's
yeah.
retiring?
Can you imagine?
Who?
Ghost asked if he could retire, and I told him he could.
No, he
Really?
can't retire.
God,
Come on,
fucking let it
Ghost.
go, man.
Your
If
duty
I
is
can
not
retire,
done yet,
anybody can
brother.
retire.
Apparently Lightning is thinking up of an op string, so, that could be interesting. Lightning's ops have always got some quirks to them. They're good.
I know a little bit about that, but I'm not the kind of kiss and tell.
I think we've spoiled enough already. We're gonna have
Someone's
nothing for
gonna-
episode 3 and on.
We're gonna have to maybe take a little bit of a hiatus between this and the next episode, I think.
We shall see.
We have to hash out some details.
Alright, let's see. I'm not seeing a whole lot of questions, but the ones that were asked, we did answer. So,
What do you think
don't-
about when you go to sleep?
Cats
Iron
waking up at 4
threats.
a.m.
I don't think I'm comfortable getting into that.
I think about boobies.
I think about what music and what playlist I'm going to go to sleep to.
I think about boobies.
Basic plan of my day, like in the most broadest of terms.
You guys are falling asleep to the wrong shit. Should be thinking about boobies.
have to keep it PG. Not
Or at least
really,
we're not-
but we have to follow the Twitch guidelines and not get a channel strike.
Oh, we can't talk about boobies?
We can't, but I know where you're gonna go into, and I'm stopping you while you're ahead.
Regardless,
No,
at least we're
I'm-
not falling
I'm not
asleep
going
during
any-
our off.
Moving
I'm
on.
not doing anything more than that. I'm just saying that.
Next segment!
This is I'm sad. I'm sad now.
Hey, Tom, welcome to chat. And
Yeah.
thanks for being on the podcast.
Glad to be here. Thanks
That
for
whole
asking.
person is Elder Tom. I only can wonder who that is. I would have no clue. I can't. I'm not good at putting two and two together.
So, in chat, Falcon is wondering what our favorite genre of music is. And I'm not very musically inclined, but I do know Vault, you are.
Holy fuck! You don't want to ask me that question because I'll tell you 3 different genres and then go into
Congratulations.
5 different subgenres.
Congratulations, Falcon, you just turned
Same.
this into a 3-hour podcast.
I'd
I
answer
mean,
that
honestly-
question, but you already know my answer.
Caribbean and reggae.
That was one time.
Tom, I could definitely see that. Like, if you're not joking, I could legit see that.
Actually, my favorite type of music is classical, or I like the old school crooners, which is your Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr. Moving on forward.
Boo!
I like the Halo original soundtrack.
You like those throat singers, don't you?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, rap, rock, punk rock. Let's see. Yeah, let's see. Of course, all the crooner stuff, classical. I mean, basically everything except like a lot of the modern country, which makes you want to fucking blow my fucking brains out. Oops.
I feel like the first ones you listed there, I feel like you listened to those while wearing like really dark eyeliner and like
So you're talking about gospel music is what you're talking about. Gotcha, check.
no, that's Reigns' stuff right there.
Okay. Plus with Dynamite Crown.
God damn it, Ghost! How dare you?
So, like, I listen to a lot of stuff. I know that's what everybody says, but, like, legitimately, like, I really do, because I went to, I originally was going to be a music major before I switched around stuff like every other person does, but I had, like, I started playing Fallout, like, when I was 10, when, like, we were talking about last podcast, when we first got introduced to Fallout. So a lot of the Fallout radio, like as Tom said, the croony stuff I listened to just because I was so enamored with the universe. But um, I had my emo phase in middle school, like everybody.
Didn't we all?
I
It's
did
not
not.
emo.
Oh.
Oh,
I had
Well,
my
But
I'd
I had
probably
my
say the
redneck
emo
phase
stuff comes
in
in
middle
waves
school.
for me.
redneck phase.
I
I
can't.
never.
No, I was
Go ahead, sir. My apologies.
Nope.
huge into metal, like from like my 8th grade year all the way up until like my junior. Like I have all of the battle jackets with all of my favorite bands sewed onto them. I've got like 3 or 4 different denim jackets that have patches on them. And then now I'm in a really big alternative rap scene, stuff like MF Doom. Me and Skill, we share a lot of groups who like People Under the Stairs is one
Yeah, I
that
mean,
I
check
know
out.
me and him both like.
Yeah, I mean, feel free to check out Hollywood Undead Vault when you get a chance if you haven't.
I actually know who they are, and they are not appropriate.
Oh, really? Now?
Yes, I can think of several other songs that are not suitable for appropriateness.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say like for public stuff, but for your own like kind of thing, maybe. But that's just me.
Definitely listen at home music.
So I will give this a bit of info. My parents were very strictly religious, and basically the rule of thumb in our house was, if it didn't come out of the church hymnal, I wasn't allowed to listen to it. They only conceded to when I was 15, 16. I was actually allowed to listen to classical music as long as there wasn't anyone singing. And then once 18 broke, oh Lord, let the infusion
Man.
of music begin.
I sound like an anarchist compared to your upbringing.
Oh, I was a
That's
church boy.
definitely
It was
interesting.
3 times a week, twice on Sundays.
So you were you were a late music bloomer. You had a lot to discover.
Oh yes, my first concert, it wasn't for my beautiful wife, Steph, who obviously we share this lovely gamer tag with. It was Sir Elton John here in Cleveland, Ohio. That was my first one as an adult. Even as a kid, I'd never seen a concert.
Dang, that's a good first one too.
Oh yeah, how do you top that? But now she's got me seeing one at least once a month. Even like when COVID hit, we obviously had to stop, but we were watching them
Yeah.
virtually. So I'm trying to play catch up as much as possible.
That's awesome. I can't remember last time I went to a concert. It was when I was really young. So
I think last concert I remember was let's see, West Coast Side at the Crystal Ballroom before COVID.
I went to a Tyler the Creator concert. That was the last one I went to. I actually went to that one for free. I didn't
Yeah.
really even know who that artist was until I went to that concert.
Yeah, basically it was a show with like Cypress Hill, Hollywood and Dead exhibit, and like Demrick and such.
I know Skill likes Exhibit.
Yeah, so I've seen exhibit in person.
that's cool. No, I haven't really met anybody like a celebrity, so it's pretty cool.
Really?
Yeah, no, never met a celebrity.
Yeah, and the
I feel like
current
everybody's
cast of
met at
Cypress
least
Hill
once.
and such.
I fucking love Cypress Hill. Skill gets pissed because I know some of their songs lyric by lyric, and he'll just
Oh hell yeah,
Be
same here,
ashamed.
brother.
Why do I get pissed about that?
That's a serious
because I
question.
was singing "Insane in the Membrane," and you were like,
You trying to
"Why
get
do you
crazy
know
with
all
me,
these
SA?
lyrics?"
I don't get
look,
pissed
though.
about it, but
He gets
I
so
just don't-
Yeah,
sassy.
you were ashamed. You were ashamed of me.
well,
These were your exact
there's
words.
like there's 100 reasons why I'm ashamed of you.
spam.
Wait, that bitch ain't one.
You know,
I got 99 problems with that chain.
see, the
You got an
problem
itch?
the problem I have, Vault, is when I say who's going chicken hunting.
Not doing it. You're
What?
supposed to say we're going chicken hunting.
Where go chicken hunting?
I know Vault is refraining from responding to this, but I know he knows every frickin' word of that song.
Actually have no clue what you're talking about.
Wait, what are you talking about, bro?
ICP.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
listen to
Oh,
ICP.
Jaguar.
Insane
Yeah,
Clown.
I mean,
My uncle
to be honest,
loves Insane Clown Posse.
I
But
mean,
I'm not a
to be honest,
You're a
was kinda-
juggalette.
actually, to be honest, during the whole ICP, like, you know, beef with like Shady and whatnot, I was firmly on the Shady side. So,
That's because Slim Shady's the greatest. He's the GOAT.
Stop. We're not getting into an Eminem debate. I hear so much over the
It's
mic. It's
not.
insane.
Oh,
It's
God.
really not. It's not a debate though. It's just fact.
it's already settled.
Five Finger Death Punch is really good. Ghost says he was at a concert for them.
Oh, say
Some
what?
good old dad rock.
Well,
Wait,
now
what?
I know who to hate.
Ivan Moody, what an interesting guy. Their lead singer, he's kind of scary. But not in like an intimidating way. You got backstage passes? Good shit.
God, people are so lucky.
Backstage pass
Speaking
to
of
the
famous people,
Falcons.
I always keep.
I
I always have a backstage pass for Starkey.
I don't know why you're laughing. That's terrible.
Lightning went to
Sounds like
Billy
Haiti.
Joel 2 weeks ago, so that's pretty cool too, actually.
that is very cool. It's a really good one to go to as well.
I've only been to one concert in my entire life, and that was for Disturbed, Lakuta Coil, and Killswitch Engage.
Oh, nice.
I would love to see Killswitch Engaged in concert.
It was a
I mean, honestly-
great concert.
Honestly, I like to see both of them in live,
Killswitch
honestly.
Engage did the Wall of Death, they called it. They literally
Yes,
parked
I
the
know.
entire arena, and then they get like probably 100 feet in between the two crowds, and then they just tell you to charge each other, and it's fucking madness. Oh
Fucking
my
mosh
god!
pit. Oh my
Everybody in the center of that, like, oh my god, you just get crushed.
This is
Yeah.
coming from the guy who prefers to wear a Kenny Chesney t-shirt all day.
Hey, I don't wear it all day. I'm not wearing a shirt right now.
That's because you spilled the whiskey on it. Yes.
Damn, here I am.
Excuse me?
Here I am wearing
Did
my
you just
Paladin
accuse
shirt
me
and
of
freaking
spilling
like
whiskey?
camo.
Yes, I am.
You best change your words right now. I
You're
don't
wasting
spill a
good
drop.
whiskey, sir.
I don't spill drops. I drink drops.
So I went and counted up. I've seen 27 different artists over, I think, 7 different concerts. One of them was a festival that I went to, and that's where I saw a bulk of them. But
I went to Jack Johnson. That's who it was when I was a kid, but I don't remember the supporting artists.
Jack Johnson, that is a name I have not heard in forever.
Yeah, that's probably why I didn't want to bring it up.
He did the Curious George song, the one upside down.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
finally found out where.
I had a real
to be
big thing for
found.
Curious George too growing up.
Yeah, that's a holy. I'm gonna listen to that song after the movie.
I actually had one. Little
Well,
doll.
guys, I hate to do this, but I gotta hop off and do real life stuff outside of this room that you have me trapped in.
Hey, that actually
believe
is a
you.
perfect segue because we're getting ready to go on our time limit here, 2 hours. So let's go ahead and wrap this up.
Any last words,
Final
Chad?
words from. Yeah, there we go. Bye, Skill.
I agree, Ghost. These podcasts are super fun to do.
I don't know who's talking about the retirement central part.
I gotta wheelchair your ass out of here.
Hey, if I gotta carry you out, I will.
Alright, well, with everything being the way it is, this has been Steel Talk with Vault. I don't know why people like to put it that way, but You know, it's what they've been
Here
saying.
at Brotherhood Radio Network. That's BRN. If you forgot.
All right. And thank you to our live audience here. You guys are cool. Thank you for the music in the background. Much appreciated. All right. Ad Victorium, everybody. I hope you had a
Ad
great time here
Victorium.
in our little
Thanks for
studio.
viewing, everyone. Ad Victorium.
Queen Victoria, all the way.